Welcome to my channel, where we discuss everything and all things politics, especially about the 2023 presidential election and its aftermath. We are still in the election season because the elections are not over until the Supreme Court rules. In this video, I want us to look at what Peter Obi said recently about Nigeria's democracy in the light of our celebration of Democracy Day on June 12th. And then we'll talk about it, some of the salient issues that he raised when he communicated with Nigerians through his Twitter handle, his verified Twitter handle. So let us look at what Peter Obi has to say about the state of our democracy. The presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, in the February 25, 2023 presidential election, has said that the nation's democracy is deeply troubled, while its destiny remains uncertain and precarious. Obi said that it is regrettable that the country is now in an era where fundamental pillars of democracy are undermined by prevalent impunity and pervasive violence and bloodletting. In a statement via his verified Twitter handle, Obi lamented that the country lacks selfless leaders committed to national interest, sustainable development, and innovative thinking that offers every Nigerian freedom of choice of abode, protection of lives and property, and other liberties. His statement is coming on the heels of the commemoration of June 12th Democracy Day in Nigeria. Obi noted that the collective choice of late Chief MKO Abiola as the worthy leader for the nation was saluted by Nigerians and governments and peoples across the world, pointing out that June 12th underpins Nigeria's long collective journey to nationhood as a true democracy. The former Anambra State governor noted that Nigerians expressed their unreserved preference for democracy, for true democracy, and freely chose a transparent voting method over even under military rule. Even under military rule, Nigerians freely chose a transparent voting method even under military rule. However, he lamented that the trust deficit between the leaders and the people and Nigerians have continued to expand, has continued to expand. Part of his statement reads, our collective choice of late Chief MKO Abiola as a worthy leader for the nation was saluted by Nigerians and governments and peoples across the world. Therefore, June 12th underpins our long collective journey to nationhood as a true democracy. However, the current state of our politics tells a different story. Our democracy is deeply troubled, while our nation's destiny remains uncertain and precarious. We remain a nation in search of solutions to too many basic problems. Above all, the government must respect and protect the institutions of the democratic state by respecting the social contract with the people, by meeting their needs obeying their wishes, and fulfilling the responsibilities of responsible governance as contained in the Constitution. A cardinal responsibility of the government in this regard is respect for the rule of law. Regrettably, we are now in an era where these fundamental pillars of democracy are undermined by impunity, by prevalent impunity and pervasive violence and bloodletting. The trust deficit between the leaders and Nigerians continue to expand. The deficit of trust and the efficiency in our last elections demonstrate the malady quite boldly. The challenge of June 12th and a dedicated Democracy Day is to inspire us correct the errors of our present elections. This is the surest way to restore the confidence of our people in the future of our nation and the promise of true democracy. I, however, urge us all not to lose faith in the inbuilt design of our democratic system to self-correct. Personally, I remain committed and convinced that a new Nigeria is possible. Our aspiration for a nation of equity, justice, security, and peace can hardly be utopia. We are a nation blessed richly with human and natural resources. What we lack are selfless leaders who are committed to national interests, sustainable development, and innovative thinking that offers every Nigerian, irrespective of ethnicity, religion, or social status, the freedom of choice of our board and protection of lives, property, and other liberties. These aspirations are real and achievable, and I hereby reiterate my promise to Nigerians that we will not relent in our fight to bring about a leadership that will accord them the priority they deserve. Now, let us analyze what Peter Obi has just said. And before we do that, if you are new to my channel, you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. When you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, anytime I have a new video, you'll be among the first to know. God bless you. Now, let us first of all look at the second to the last paragraph of what Peter Obi said. He said, what we lack are selfless leaders who are committed to national interest, sustainable development, innovative thinking that offers every Nigerian, irrespective of ethnicity, religion, or social status, the freedom of choice of our board and protection of lives, property, and other liberties. Now, let us look at this weighty description of our state of being as a democracy that was described by Peter Obi. He said, what we lack are selfless leaders. I can't agree more. We lack selfless leaders. We lack leaders that will put the country first and not their selfish interest. We lack leaders that will put the constitution first and not their selfish and parochial interest. I'll give you a typical example of this scenario. Remember, during the election, there was unmitigated violence throughout Lagos State, both in the presidential election and it got worse in the governorship election. As Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the leader of APC, and now INEC declared president, and he's sitting pretty as the president and commander-in-chief until the court says otherwise. He didn't say a word. He was in Lagos. He was not uh, outside the country or any other place. He was in Lagos when the whole violence was going on, when the whole profiling of people of Igbo extraction in Lagos was going on. He was there. If Aswad was a selfless leader, that was when he would have said something. But he didn't say anything. Aswad only talked after the governorship election had been won as declared by INEC that his governorship candidate, Sanwo-Olu, has won. Then he came out to talk about peace. But when he could have nipped it in the bud, he didn't. Perhaps that was Peter Obi had in mind when he talked about that country lacks selfless leaders. Leaders who are not doing things because of their own parochial interest, because of their political interest. It's just so bad. And this thing is pervasive. In fact, this shows that our election, our democracy is going backward. Our democracy is under threat, as Peter Obi rightly pointed out. And you can't have a democracy that is growing where a major presidential candidate like Aswad Bola Ahmed Tinubu was on camera telling his supporters that they don't serve power a la carte. You have to grab it, you have to snatch it, you have to run with it. And that was exactly what happened in Lagos, both in the presidential election and in the governorship election. Some of his people were all over the place, snatching and grabbing and running and beating people up. So that's not the kind of democracy we had that we are celebrating at Abiola. In fact, like Peter Obi pointed out, Nigerians chose democracy above every other thing, and they choose a system that produced Abiola as the winner of the election, or the presumed winner of the election. Today, what do we have? We have a situation where INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission, promised that the election result will be transmitted live from the polling units across the country to the INEC, to the server, and from the server to the INEC Arif. It never happened in the case of the presidential election. And as I talk to you now, the presidential election results, all of it, election that was held since February 25, many of it are still not uploaded to the IRF. Even INEC themselves appears not to have confidence in themselves, bringing out the result they use in declaring Tinubu the winner of the election, so that he could be interrogated by others. So it's a sad situation that we have in Nigeria. And Peter was talking about sustainable development. Our leaders don't care about sustainable development. They don't care about sustainable. It is all about their own interest. That's why you see them borrowing money all the time. Because they don't care who will pay it. The generation that will pay it, they don't care about them. But sustainable development is talking about a development in which you take care of the needs of today while not neglecting the needs of the future generation. We like leaders that are foresighted. That's why you see many of them they deride Peter Obi that he was saving money because Peter Obi is a man who thinks about sustainable development. He thinks about the future and not just about the present alone. We lack leaders who think about sustainable development. It is all about themselves, all about their selfish interest now, and not about the future. Then Peter will talk about religion. You see the way they are now playing the politics of religion in Nigeria. MKO Abiola, he ran on Muslim ticket. He ran on Muslim ticket. Yet he won in all the southern states. He won in all the southern states. Today, the Muslim ticket we are having, we are now told by Malam Nasir El-Rufai, former governor of Kaduna State, that the essence of the Muslim ticket was for Muslim dominance of the country. El-Rufai was boasting on tape that has already gone viral that his fellow countrymen in Kaduna who are Christians will never be governor, will never be deputy governor, will never be secretary to the state government, will never be commissioner for finance. No position of significance will they ever occupy. In other words, he has turned them to slaves. Is that democracy? Is that a democracy? What we are practicing in Kaduna, and for which El-Rufai said that they have now moved it to the national level through Aswad Bola Ahmed Tinubu Muslim ticket. Is that a democracy? Can what we have now, going by the assessment, of El-Rufai, is that democracy? Is that democracy? That people of a particular religion will never attain a particular position. And he took it to national level. He said even at the national level, the reason why they did Muslim ticket was to show the dominance of Islam or Muslims in Nigeria. And he said from now onwards, in the next 20 years, even at the national level, no Christian can ever win an election in Nigeria. And he was taunting Peter Obi, said we have taught him a lesson. Now we have taught him a lesson. And then he said, look at Khan. They have literally disgraced Khan, Christian Association of Nigeria, that can they talk again? Is that kind of democracy we are celebrating? Is that what democracy is all about? A democracy that closes doors for other Nigerians and say they cannot enter, and put a ceiling on other Nigerians and say you can't pass through this level. And we are practicing the same type of democracy they are practicing in other parts of the world. We have somebody like Obama, whose father was a Kenyan, could rise to become president of America or United States. You have a situation where somebody of Pakistani origin is the mayor of London. Somebody of Indian origin is the prime minister of Britain. Yet, a highly educated person like El-Rufai is saying no matter how good Christians are in Kaduna, they will never be governor, they will never be deputy governor. And it's also saying the same thing, that no matter how good Christians are, a Christian is, he can never be president of Nigeria. He can never be deputy vice president. Is that the kind of democracy we are celebrating? Our democracy is going backward. Like somebody wrote in Punch the other day, say Aerofire belonged to Afghanistan. That's the kind of governance practice he ought to go there and learn how to do it. Because that's what his preaching was tantamount to talking. He was just talking like the kind of things that all this the Taliban in Afghanistan can say. And he was damn serious about it. Sadly. And that was why he had been very quiet. He hadn't come out to defend it because it's indefensible. He couldn't claim that it was AI generated because if he says so, it will be subjected to test to find out whether it's true. It will be fact checked whether it was AI generated, but it was real. So these are the kind of things that are happening in our country. And Peter Obi is talking about that our democracy is in danger. Now look at what Peter Obi is talking about, that we should have freedom of our board. What he means by that is that you should have freedom to live wherever we choose in Nigeria and participate in the political process of Nigeria. But what we're having now is a situation where they say, no, Bayo Onanuga was issuing threats to people of Southeast origin that this is the last time, this election of 2023, is the last time that Igbos will dabble into Lagos politics. And yet the Igbos are living in Lagos, paying tax in Lagos. So they are not entitled to have representative or representation where they pay tax. It is this same Lagos that the Speaker Obasa has now proposed that is going to come with a property law. And he was targeting perhaps the Igbos and others who are non-Lagosians, particularly the Igbos, from what I heard. And yet they want Lagos to be a mega city. Small time they will tell you that they want Lagos is competing with New York, competing with London. And they cannot show us an example where London and New York and all these cities are so parochial about those who should vote and not vote in their cities the way they are in Lagos. They brag so much about Lagos as if Lagos was their brainchild, that it was not the colonial masters who turned it because it was a sea settlement and turned it into our capital. And everybody was literally forced to come to Lagos if you want to do business with the federal government. If they are so smart, why is Oshobo? Why is Oshobo not booming like Lagos? Why can't they transfer that magic in Oshun? Why can't they transfer that magic in Akure? Transfer that magic of Lagos in other parts of Southwest? It is because Lagos has been favored by the state and is still being favored. Look at how other ports in Nigeria are literally dead while only Lagos ports are functioning. That's why you see people flooding to Lagos. There's nothing different. What is so special about Lagos? Is the air cleaner in Lagos than any other place in Nigeria? Is the environment cleaner than any other place in Nigeria? Is the water cleaner than any other place in Nigeria? It's just because Lagos, by its geography, being an entry port and export port, people troop to Lagos. And now those who are in Lagos are being threatened that they are going to do a law, property law, and they are raising shoulder. And many of them who are saying this, they are not even from Lagos State. And many of them have houses outside Nigeria. So that's the kind of democracy we are celebrating. It's a democracy that is seriously in danger. A troubled democracy. A democracy in which the wish of the people is not being carried out. People will vote, but INEC will announce whoever they like as the winner. A situation whereby even when you go to court, they say go to court. You go to court, you say you need INEC ICT expert to be interrogated. They will not allow you to interrogate them. That's not democracy. What we have is no better than what they have in Russia, in Afghanistan by the Taliban, or in Syria. Because the conduct of election, the flawed elections we conduct in this country, does not mean that our democracy is viral, is effective. It's mere symbolic. Look at how the country was quiet. Silence of the graveyard when Aswad Bola Ahmed Tinubu was announced as the winner of the election on March 1st. That should send a lesson that this democracy we are having now, Nigerians are just tolerating it because it appears that we have replaced military dictatorship with civilian dictatorship. And it's so sad. So I have no quarrels at all with Peter Obi's assessment of our state of our democracy. It's in a terrible state, in a troubled state. Look at the election that was done in 2023. It's 2023 election. Despite the INEC promises that the elections, the result will be transmitted from the polling unit to the RF real time, they didn't do it. They lied to Nigerians. They deceived Nigerians and the international community. Because even Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, when he was at Chatham House in London, he was boasting that no going back on the use of beavers, no going back on electronic transmission of results. It was after the election was conducted and their preferred candidates, they know that he's not going to win. Then they now told us that INEC has the right to use any means to collect in the collection of results. That was when they now reminded us. They deceived Nigerians. And now they are trying to deceive the courts so that the truth will not come out. So what we have is just civilian administration. It is not democracy. From what we experienced in 2023. Unless the court corrects the mistakes of INEC, the deliberate mistakes of INEC on February 25, including the declaration of Aswad Bola Ahmed Tinubu that he was the winner of the election without getting 25% of the votes cast in Abuja, in violation of Section 134, subsection 2B of the 1999 Constitution. It's very unfortunate what we have. And the other day, in a slip of tongue, INEC lawyer confirmed that nobody could have, that article is in an exchange between a witness, PDP witness, and INEC lawyer. The INEC lawyer confirmed. He said that Atiku could not have been declared president because he didn't get 25% in Abuja. Yet the same INEC declared as what? Winner of the election without getting 25% in Abuja. Is that a sign of a country that has a thriving democracy? It is not. It shows a country that the democracy is dying. What you see is just mere civilian administration, not democracy. Thank you for watching this video. And if you are new to my channel, you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. When you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, anytime I have a new video, you'll be among the first to know. God bless you. And please don't forget to like this video, because when you like it, God will rank it high and recommend it for other people. God bless you and yours.